The problem with the banks in Myanmar is not corruption. The problem with the banks in Myanmar is not the government. There are two major problems with the banks in Myanmar, and both of them are kind of hard to see. Hello everyone, it's Alcion Anthony, and in this video, Myanmar and the banks. Now, banks are important for all economies. Banks take your money in the form of a deposit, and then the bank lends out some of that money to businesses and entrepreneurs. The bank makes money by the interest on those loans. But when people don't put their money into banks, that means banks don't have money for loans for the small businesses. And if banks don't have money for loans for small businesses and entrepreneurs, that leads to slow economic growth and slow innovation. And all of that means that the government's monetary policy becomes less effective. In Malaysia and Singapore, about 80 to 90% of the people have banks. In Vietnam and Thailand, over 75% of the people have banks. But in Myanmar, only 48% of the people have banks. This is according to the World Bank. But why is this? Some people don't trust banks. Some people prefer cash. Some people move away from banks when the exchange rate on the black market and the government exchange rate becomes too different. Some people prefer to put their money in real estate or gold or other things. There are many reasons, but I say all that to say this. Myanmar does not have one financial system. Myanmar has several financial systems operating at one time. Let's talk about it. First, we have the banks and these mobile payment platforms. They sound the same, but they are not the same. A mobile payment platform is usually to scan QR codes, pay bills, buy simple goods. Many people in Myanmar know this is KBZ Pay. This is different from the banks. Now, the banks can do those things, but they also accept deposits. You can create a savings account, and of course, they make loans. It sounds the same, but it is very different. You also have a trust-based bank called Hundi. It is illegal, I know, but many people still use this trust-based bank to send and receive money, assuming you trust the agent that you're doing business with. Many people prefer this Hundi because the exchange rates are favorable and you don't have to deal with a lot of the financial regulations and sanctions that comes with dealing with the regular banks. You also have cryptocurrency. Again, I know it's illegal, but if you know what you're doing in Myanmar, people still use this as a medium of exchange and a way to send money. And the big one is gold. Many people in Myanmar use gold as a store of value because they trust gold long-term more than they trust their currency in Myanmar long-term. This is the first problem. Banks have too much competition, and to be quite frank with you, the competition is very good, okay? So that's the first problem. What's the second problem? The second problem is harder to see. The second problem is something called SWIFT. SWIFT is an acronym that stands for Society Worldwide for Interfinancial Banking, okay? I'm sorry, I got that wrong. It's Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Transactions, okay? This is basically a messaging app that banks use to send instructions to each other. It's basically WhatsApp for banks. Now, Myanmar does have access to SWIFT, although it is limited. The problem is that the other banks that Myanmar would have to communicate with cannot do business with the banks in Myanmar due to the sanctions. This leads to banks in Myanmar doing less transactions. They settle less transactions, which means they make less money, which means they have less money, okay? Which means a slowdown in economic growth because they can't give out as much loans. The reason why this is a problem, because currently the government of Myanmar is financing itself by printing money. Right now, 70% of the government budget deficit is being financed by the Central Bank of Myanmar. That means that they're just printing money. Now, fortunately for the people of Myanmar, these are all solvable issues. The way we can solve issue number one is by restoring our trust back into banks. It's not easy, but it can be done if we get some great leadership. The problem with number two, the solution for problem number two, which is SWIFT, is it's a waiting game. We just have to wait for the sanctions to subside so we can have access to international banking like we did in the past.